My biggest enemy is back. Yeah, you heard that right. I thought that maybe this time I can actually get away from him, but no. Just like before, it caught up with me, and this time I actually don't know what to do. I do have only one plan, and I just hope it's going to work. And yes, you probably already figured out what I'm talking about. Colors. Hello guys, how is it going? Welcome to a new video. How are you? How was your weekend? And I do actually hope you're alright, because you know what? You're awesome, and you probably had an awesome thing going on for you in this weekend. So, after that very depressing intro that hopefully you liked, we're actually going to talk about exactly what you heard, which is colors, right? So actually, this video is not gonna be too long. It's not like I always say that and I don't actually do that. But you know what? Let's actually get right into the sorry, just 1 second. Yeah. What's that? Yeah. Wait. No, sir. Oh, I know. Yes, I know under 50% of them are, you know, subscribed, and I know that. Yeah, I got it. Sure, I'll talk to them. Okay. Guys, we do have a little bit of a problem. The algorithm just called me, and yes, 50% of you that actually watch this are not even subscribed. And you know what? He's actually pretty angry. The one thing that he actually can do is he waits for you to subscribe if you're not subscribed. And actually, if you are subscribed, please leave a like, please share this video, and I really hope you will leave a comment on this video and tell me what you think about this. And actually, I'm pretty curious on this topic, because it's something that everyone will probably do different, and I'm really curious on your choices. So let's actually get into the video now. Colors. Those amazing things that actually can, well, basically make or break a scene, right? Because colors are wonderful. I think really we can all agree that when a scene is like this, and we look at it through, you know, nothing really, and we just see emptiness. I mean, it's a cool model and all, but, you know, it's not alive. You know, what brings life to an actual 3D scene? Colors do. Most of you will say animation, because that actually does bring life into something. But no, you're wrong. It's colors. You're probably not wrong, but it's colors. Okay? Because that's the topic of my video, and I have to say that. So we're actually going to talk about colors, because if you are like me, and you have no artistic background, you have, well, basically no understanding of how color schemes actually work. Yeah, you probably are exactly in the same place as I am when it comes to actually choosing textures for your scene. I mean, choosing the material might not be the problem, because you kind of know what you should have, but it's the problems when it's like, how should I color the scene? How should I light the scene? What colors should my lights have? That's the moment where I usually kind of get lost, and that's the moment when, if you look at my previous works, most of them are on like Instagram or Artstation. The links are down below if you want to check them out. It's actually kind of bad, because I never really understand what I should do, right? Because I always see these like videos about how to color scheme. Actually, I'm going to put a video in the description. It's from Blenderguru on how to actually choose colors and kind of how to choose from a color scheme. But that theory, it's good and all, but to me personally, it didn't really help that much, and I'm gonna say why. The big problem that I have is that I cannot really see it on my models, right? So I know, you know, you can tell me how it will look, but I will personally not see it until I actually have the colors in front of me and see if it works or not. And even then, I realize that most of the time I really choose shady colors. Like, I do not know how to do that, and I am totally aware of it. And actually, again, if you look at my previous works, they are not the greatest color schemes ever. Like, most of them are either bland, either not that interesting. And those that are a little bit interesting, it's mostly because I do take from others, like from the references that I'm looking for, right? So here you can kind of say the same thing. So I have my references, right? And for modeling, they work perfectly well. But here's the thing. I wanted this robot to actually be my thing and to be my own, so I wanted my color scheme, of course, for this. So I had to check a way to actually get around that and actually get a decent color palette and a decent color scheme to go with this. But before I go into that, let me just explain you a little bit what I did, because you might see up here that we actually have two folders now. We have a low poly folder, where it's everything we've done so far. And the reason it's a low poly, it's because this is the folder where every single object that you see here will stay with no modifier applied. I repeat that, don't apply any modifiers on your object. What you will do is create a new folder with high poly versions, which is basically just duplicating what we did before, but this time, as you can actually see, there are no modifiers because I applied all of them. And that's what we gotta do, right? Because we need a low poly version of our robot, Scream Team. Well, my robot is called Scream Team. I hope that your robot is having a cooler name in mind, really. Actually, yeah, let me know what you call it. But here's the deal. What you gotta do after you do, apply your modifiers is you gotta UV unwrap it, just like you see here. Everything should be UV unwrapped because, well, as I did say before, we will make some procedural textures in Blender as well, because I want to show you all the methods really. But we will first of all do texturing in Quixel Mixer because I think it's a little more professional and because honestly it does give you a lot of choices. And you'll see right away because, by the way, in the last video I did talk to you about decals and how I didn't really know how to, play around with its positioning and its size. Now I know, I checked it out, I know how to do that, and I'll show it to you in this video. But before we do that, again, the biggest problem I had is how exactly am I coloring this robot, right? Because that was a really important part. Like, yeah, sure, I have my robot right here, but I didn't know what to do. So what I chose to do is actually go on Google, and I found this really cool site called Coolors.co. So Coolors.co, I'm not sponsored or anything. This is a really neat site. I for one am really against, by the way, not necessarily against, but I don't really like the use of AI in 3D art or in art in general. I think it just kind of breaks all the fun out of it. However, I am a big believer in the fact that AI can help out, when it comes to at least some things. For me, color palette that actually shows me exactly how the colors are gonna stay next to each other will be really, really helpful because I can actually see the colors myself and then I can apply them because also I don't really know. So as you can see, each color has a code, and yes, what's good about that, it's the fact that you can take that code. So let me actually go to material. You can take that code and actually put it right here. So you can copy the hex, which is this one right here, and they do actually have a button especially for that. And then you can just have that exact color in whatever program you have. Every program will have that most probably. So having that, I started to wonder what I can do. So what I did is I separated, let's talk about the main body because this is the one I've worked on the most so far. And what I did is I UV unwrapped it, and after that you can select with L. And when you do that, here you should choose to delimit by seams. So basically by doing that, you will just select what you want to have a different texture. Hello there, one actually small thing to talk about. Sorry for the interruption, but that's actually pretty important. While UV unwrapping, it's actually pretty important to notice. When you do apply the modifiers, make actually sure, while you UV unwrap, do two things. First things first, wherever you use the booleans and the bevel modifiers, just know that after you will actually cut an object out of another object, right, you will create edges. Those edges will be beveled. Now, if the bevel was before the boolean was there, what will happen is most probably you will have some vertices actually not wanted around here. Now, of course, I actually cleaned this up, but I'm actually going to have a picture kind of right now. where I actually had this error. And why you don't want that is actually pretty simple. First is, geometry that we can just get rid of. Second thing, it's actually disrupting your, geometry. First, it creates n-gons. Secondly, actually might create shading issues, which we do not want. And that brings me to the second thing, which actually will destroy your UV unwrap, which we definitely don't want, right? As you can actually see right here in my UV unwrap, I have these edges right here that actually connects my body with, these Boolean cuts that I made into the body, right? With the modifiers, if you remember how we did it. I'm gonna try to pull an image up if you don't remember. But basically what happened is, it's pretty simple actually. For Blender to actually understand how to keep this geometry, it adds some bridging edges that will actually create a bridge between the body and these booleans. And now the thing is, when the boolean actually happens, those are absolutely randomly made, and they usually will look something like, let me just destroy my mesh for a second. Usually it looks kind of something like this, right? Like it's not good. It's actually going to really be bad for our UVs. So what you want to do is actually, with a knife tool that I just used at this point, by pressing K, you'll get this knife tool. All you gotta do afterwards is just select the vertex you want to actually create the edge from, get on the edge wherever you want, and as you can see, I can go right there, press enter, and you will have an edge. And that's how I created these bridges. So basically my geometry can be kept by Blender, but also at the same time, I will also have pretty clean geometry. Also creating some quads, at least for these parts. Of course, the other zones are not gonna have because of the levels, but it's pretty fine as it is. So back to actually what I was saying about Coolors. So I did that. And after I parted it, I just chose the body to be the blue color that you actually can see right here. But now how this side actually works? Well, it's going to start as you see here. It's gonna give you a few colors to choose from. And then what you have to do is you can just go and press space, and it's gonna give you different color palettes until you actually find something you like. Now, let's say that you like one color, but you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I don't really like the rest. Like, let's say this one, right? You can lock this one and then keep going until you actually find something again that matches with what you're looking for. And then you'll say, but I like this one as well. You can also lock this. And then you'll say, but I don't want it like this. I want it a little darker. No problem at all. You'll just go to view shades, and then you can actually darken. It's the same color basically, but just darkened. And then again, you can keep going and check out for what else you might find. And again, here you can do a little more than that. You can actually press on the color, not on the name here, sorry, on the hex, and actually move around and choose different colors yourself if you're not satisfied with what it generates to you. And this is not a big deal, like that's not amazing or whatever, but you can also visualize the colors, which I think is a pretty neat thing. And what it does is basically shows you the color palette it has here, and it can show you a little bit of what you could do with it. And actually at least to me, that actually helped a lot, because I was able to see something like this and be like, I think they actually might match pretty well together. So what I did do is actually take those colors right here and actually put them as materials, as you can see here. And before you go to, oh, but I know exactly what I want to do, so I'm not gonna use this, and I'm not gonna, already create these materials. I'm gonna do everything in Quixel Mixer. You still should do this, and I will tell you why when we get to Quixel Mixer. But long story short is, by doing that, you already kind of give Quixel Mixer the information that these parts should have different materials, and doing that will allow us to actually texture different materials in Quixel Mixer. So that is all good and dandy. We are ready to actually go to Quixel Mixer, right? So all you gotta do from here on out is actually, again, make sure that all the modifiers are applied. Make sure the scale is also applied to your body, the rotation and everything, you should apply them, I always do. Then export the file as I showed you before as an FBX. And with all that actually being done, you can go to Quixel Mixer. And as you can actually check out, I did already work on it quite a bit. So the first things that you gotta do is you'll come in here and actually you'll have only one layer. This is what you will see, right? And you will have only one of these layers. Now, if you press on each of the layer, you will see that the target texture set actually changes. First things first though, you will have in the setup to check if the texture sets is taking information from materials, because usually I think as a default it's coming as single. A single means it just takes the body as a whole and it treats it as if the texture should apply on you know, all of it. But what from materials does, it's because you already applied materials in Blender, now Quixel Mixer will realize which texture should go where, because it has already an ID that tells it that part of the body has a different material than that part of the body, right? So that's exactly how you should think about it. And by having that set, you can go to layers, and then after creating the number of layers you actually have, how many materials you want on your body basically, you will choose the target texture to be that said part of the body, right? So my main body, for example, is right here, and body is the one that's being chosen. And by the way, another cool thing is that the names here are actually the exact names that you will name your materials in Blender. Quixel Mixer will take that information as a whole, which is pretty cool, because you'll know exactly what you're working on. And then you can go and just put the textures, and this is what's gonna happen. Now for this particular part, I actually did, let me take everything off, and I just put a steel here. That steel I actually changed the albedo to. Now to do that, you actually have to go to select color here, and actually here you have an hex value, which is pretty neat, because we can come here, copy the hex value, come in here, change it, apply it, and now we have a different color for our steel, which I think it's pretty neat actually. And with this actually being put here, then I started adding some imperfections. Now when you do add imperfections such as grunges or scratches or whatever, I personally, so with albedo it will give you something like this, because it's a gray material basically. I do deactivate the albedo because actually I'm not interested in the albedo whatsoever. Or if you don't want to do that and you still want to see a little bit of it, I do think setting it to overlay or like even to normal, but with a very low opacity should do. But just make sure it doesn't affect all your body. Usually I'm just leaving it to overlay, or I just take it out completely because I don't want it to affect as a color my material. However, you have to make sure that metalness is actually gonna be set to overlay, because otherwise it's not gonna look good. As you see right here, if you change it to like add or like normal, I hope you don't hear that. One of my neighbors actually started drawing a hole. Drawing? Did I say drawing? I mean drilling. It's drilling a hole. Yes, so my nemesis is not just the colors, it's actually also the English language or vocabulary, whatever you want to call it, because I apparently don't know words. Okay, so metalness, change it to overlay. Same for roughness. Again, if you leave it to like this, the roughness will be really light, which means it will actually be pretty rough as a body, and we don't want that. We still want it to be metal, but just have these parts right here, right? These grunges, these little stains that actually will look pretty interesting in the reflection. So look at this. This actually looks pretty cool. And with this here, I wanted some rust around the edges of my robot, so of course I got a rust material. What I did do with this is actually pretty simple. I went to my mask, so I had a mask stack, and then I applied a curvature from here, got it right so that I actually do have a pretty okay part, and then I put a little blur over it. So without blur, it will look a little more sharpened. With blur, it will be a little more like blending in with my other parts of the body, right? And with that being done, this is how it would look, which I already thought, hey, this actually looks pretty neat. But I thought, hey, you know what's even better than that? Having even more stuff. So I put some mud stains, and actually you can see them not fully well because again, the thing is I didn't want them to be super obvious, right? I want them to be not that easy to notice, but to be there, because when you will notice them, it's going to make the whole difference. At least that's my opinion on stuff like this, right? So as you can see, we do have some mud down here, right? So that actually makes quite a bit of difference when I put it like this in the light. Don't forget shift right click to actually move the right, and then just move your mouse. And alt left click to actually be able to rotate around your body. And after that, I actually wanted to add a decal, and that's the part that I really wanted to talk about, because decals, again, I did say that I don't know how to put it, and that was actually the truth, because I didn't know at that time how to do it, or rather I forgot how to do it. And the way to actually do it was way simpler than I thought. I was complicating stuff a lot. When you go to your decal, what you gotta do is actually just you have a button right here in the right, which will be called placement, and you can just go on placement and then play with the positioning and the scaling of our body, right? So I think it was -0.1 or something. No, definitely not. So let me set it kind of about there. Yeah, there. I like it there. It's good. And that was really kind of it in most part. Now, of course, I did one more thing, which was actually, if you do look at it, let me deactivate the displacement. This is how it looked in the beginning. It looked like it was just put over our body, but I wanted it to be like imprinted in my body, right? And that's when I used displacement. I just inverted the source to not look like it's getting out, just to look like it's actually engraved in my body. And the strength is put just to 2, because I don't want it to be like super obvious. I just want it to be a little, again, subtlety, because I think that makes the difference. And then I said, hey, you know what else would be really cool? For this kind of pockets right here from these holes, to have some rust again, because that will like actually give you the impression of some leakage. I think that will look pretty good. And then I just added a texture map. Again, this is a mask stack, so you know, just right click over these, add a mask stack. I can't anymore because I actually do have it already. And then from here, just choose texture map, and it's just gonna make everything black, which is exactly what we want. Because after that, we will add a paint mask. And we can paint over where we want the rust, and this is basically the one that's driving everything for us. And of course, you can go online here and download like a rust brush. I said bruh. Okay, or a rust bruh, whatever. And you will have this. I already downloaded this, but you got the point, right? Like you can actually download brushes like this, or just brushes in general. I think I used some leakage brushes, if I'm not mistaken, for this one that I found around. Yeah, these ones. So this one and this one, those are the ones I actually used. And you know, just have them here and then use them as, you know, stains or whatever that helped you out to do better. And yeah, with that, I just basically imprinted where I wanted it. So also make sure that the value is set to white. You can play with its size and then just put this over wherever you want it. Now, there's one more thing you actually have to be careful when you do this one. When you will first do it, it's gonna look extremely weird, and the reason for it, it's actually because of the metalness. So if I deactivated it, because if it's activated, it's going to give you something like this, which looks extremely weird if you ask me. I definitely don't like it. It's way too punchy, it's way too impactful for my body, and I don't really like that. So what I did do is actually just take the metalness out, and I think I put the roughness to... No, I did leave it to normal. Okay, I thought I set it to overlay as well as I did before, but no. Yeah, that is basically what I did for this one. For the others, it's basically the same thing. Just put some imperfections over, some mud, and that's how I got the second material. They're not done just yet. I'm still working on this part, but just for you to know, that's kind of how I go about these kind of stuff, right? And then, of course, for the pieces here, I just chose this color. And after I did choose these colors, I did realize this actually looks like something I remembered when I was a kid, which was... I don't remember if this is... No, this is not what it's called. What was it? It was a big show. Yeah, this one. Mega XLR. Anyway. Well, now actually looking at this picture, it doesn't look as close. I just thought it looks way closer to this for some reason. Apparently, I just remembered it wrong. Yeah, it looks nothing like it. Well, it kind of... Oh, yeah, here it kind of does, because I had the blue and the orange and stuff. Yeah, so, yeah, maybe. I don't know. No, it's not really looking like that. Anyway, yeah, so I did want to have a little bit of a more interesting color scheme and to have my own take on this robot, to not be all of it claptrap, because I didn't want to do that. And yeah, I do hope that this is useful for you. I do hope that you will actually tell me which colors you would pick and what kind of textures you would actually apply, and if you would want me to change something about this. And also there's one more thing that I am really interested in, which is, do you actually want me to have more detailed videos, like more detailed tutorials? This is a pretty much recap of what I did so far. Because I think I already explained in pretty much detail how to use Quixel Mixer in the previous videos. I explained how to UV, unwrap and everything. But again, if you do want me to make more detailed videos on how to, I'm showing you how to make each and every step, I will do that gladly. I just thought that this way I can actually make a shorter video that has more compact information that will actually help you a little more. And since you already know basically how to do this, the only thing that remains is, well, I'm going to show you how I set this up, and afterwards, you know, you can do it yourself and play around in it. And again, if you do think, or if you want me to actually show you more in depth how I did it, maybe you want me to show you in depth how I create the materials in Quixel Mixer, because I know it's kind of hard in the beginning when you're not, you know, still there, like understanding the program. I still don't understand this program completely. It's pretty new to me, so that's why. But still, I think it's a pretty cool program to work in, and I think it's pretty easy to handle once you actually kind of got the hang of it. So with that being said, I do hope that this video finds you well, and I do totally hope that it helped you out. If colors were also your enemies, just like they were mine. With that being said, I would wish to invite you to watch the outro. So with this video actually being done, I just want to thank you so much for your support. I want to thank you so much for actually being here, and please don't forget that the extinguisher and the oxygen tank are actually on my Patreon. Yes, I did open up my Patreon, but they're free, so there's no payment or whatever. They're also on Sketchfab. The extinguisher is at the least, and I still have to upload the oxygen tank because the extinguisher had a problem. I don't really understand why, but when I upload it to Sketchfab, for some reason the roughness map is actually rotated, so it kind of looks weird, and I kind of tried to look into why that happened. So with that actually being out of the way, I wish you guys an absolute amazing week, and I do hope that this finds you well. I do hope that you cannot hear that screwdriver actually being drilled into my walls, because I think honestly someone is gonna break into my house if that keeps happening. I'm kidding, of course, but you know, the point is that it's actually pretty loud. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for being here, and I hope this actually helped you out, because it definitely helped me out to how I, you know, kind of figured out how to use this, and I think it's pretty interesting. So this being said, all I want to say is thank you and bye guys.